All right, everybody. I know this is one film breakdown you guys have been waiting for. A lot of people have fallen in love with Grayland Arnold since he gave that interview series. Listen, this is a kid that I thought his film was pretty good, but I won't lie to you, I'll give it to you straight up. There are concerns with this young man. All right, without further hesitation, y'all, let's get into today's topic. What's up, Eagles Nation? What's going on, NFL world? How you doing, division rivals? This is Steven Hyder with Gate City Sports Channel, the sports channel where the cerebral NFL fan comes for about 10 minutes of daily content. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whenever it is you get around to watching this. Once again, guys, my name is Steven Hyder, and this is Gate City Sports Channel. All right, y'all, today's topic, thank y'all so much for tuning in. It's Grayland Arnold, guys. We're going to talk about Grayland Arnold, right? This is probably going to be the underdog that everybody loves in camp. Let's just be honest. This is a kid that went undrafted. Probably if he had an opportunity to have a real traditional pro day with, large amounts of NFL teams being present at his pro day and being able to see it in person, probably would have caught on as a late round pick with an organization. But because of all this nonsense going on currently and the fact that we couldn't have these type of things, he didn't have that opportunity, and he slipped out of the draft and went undrafted.
The question I always get is, who are you higher on than everybody else you talk to? And the guy is Grayland Arnold for me. I like.
So, Grayland Arnold, just some basic, surface level things to tell you guys before we get started. What I saw with this young man, very unique. He kind of plays a weird. He has some ability to play single high safety. I've seen him as the center fielder in a single high safety look. I've seen this young man play more of a two deep look. And I've seen this young man kind of play almost a hybrid kind of nickel role. I think this is a young man that could technically compete as a nickel corner. He could technically compete as a safety. Or we could just go with the obvious and say that he's going to be like an Avonte Maddox, potentially one of these alignment list defenders, defensive backs, right?
I could play safety, I could play corner, I could play nickel. So at the end of
the way Avonte Maddox can play outside, nickel, safety, he can play everything, right? Grayland Arnold kind of has that kind of skill set. He's not anywhere near as athletic, though, guys. He's a little bigger, he's a little stronger, but he's nowhere near the athletic. He doesn't have the athletic gifts, I'll say, that a guy like Avonte Maddox has. However, I will say this. He moved pretty well on film. I thought that outside of, Winfield Jr. from Minnesota, I thought was the absolute best Ballhawk coming out of this draft from the safeties. I just thought that Winfield Jr. was just ridiculous with the Ballhawk skills. I will tell you, when I looked at Grayland Arnold, guys, I was surprised, man. I definitely thought this young man showed the potential to be a Ballhawk. I thought he was pretty good at finding and locating that football and snatching it away if you made a mistake. I have concerns, guys, and we're going to get into that. I think he's suspect on run defense. I'm just going to be quite honest with you. It's not that I doubt his physicality or that he's not a willing tackler. I just think he can really take bad angles at times, and I don't think he has the premier strength you need on the exterior or the outside like that to really take chances on plays and be able to bring somebody down. He's not a B-Dog type strong safety kind of guy. It's just not his MO, and it shows on film sometimes. With that said, look, sometimes he gets a little tight in his hips, and he can get caught with a receiver kind of separating, dipping those hips, but I didn't find too many examples of that. So, hey, I've talked long enough. I know what you guys want. Let's roll the film, guys. All right, y'all. Let's get to today's film study. All right, ladies and gents, I'm really excited to talk about Grayland Arnold because I think Grayland Arnold is a perfect example of what we can consider athleticism from a testing standpoint versus the actual on-field athleticism of a football player. Because if we look at his test, they're not that impressive, guys. He ran a 4.59 40. He measured in at 69.13 inches, so right around 5'9", guys. Combine had him listed at 190. Pro Day had him listed at 186. 33-inch vertical, 120-inch broad jump. He had a 4.3 20-yard shuttle. It's really not impressive numbers, guys. And a 7.01 second three cone. These aren't horrible numbers, minus that 4.59 40 time is not ideal, guys. But, you know, his 20-yard and his three cone shuttle show that he's got some athleticism to him. But this is what I'll say. Take what you want about the testing. When we look on film, he's a fluid mover. This kid moves fluidly on film and presents himself to be a playmaker. And to me, I'll take the film study over the raw testing. What we have here is a 3-3-5 defense. I know this might be a little difficult to see because, you know, they're kind of stacking 6 at the line there. But basically, this is the equivalency of the 34's form of the nickel defense, okay? I don't know their personnel well enough to call this big nickel or not, guys. I don't know Baylor's personnel enough to say that, but it's a form of the nickel, okay? Look at the top of your screen. That's the field side, right? The greatest distance between the hash marks, where the ball's being, the center is hiking the ball, and the sideline, guys. All right. Arnold is your middle defender there. Essentially, he's in an off coverage, and he's playing a nickel role. He's lined up on Texas wide receiver Eagles. This is a big kid. They list him as like 6'4", 229 pounds. It takes a lot of trust for a 5'9" guy to be out there covering a 6'4", 230-pound receiver, guys. Look, I won't lie to you. This is a horrible camera angle. I know. I will do my best to try to make up for it, guys. What I want you to do is right over here where I have it paused. I want you to watch the hips for the receiver. You see how he's sinking those hips and he's creating that separation? Now I want you to take a look at Arnold's hips. That's what we call opening the gateway. He opened his gateway a little too far. He got a little too far off balance, and this is just an easy bang-bang play past the sticks for a first down there to Eagles. This is Grayland Arnold at his worst, guys, and this isn't that bad. This is things that you can fix and you can clean up inside of a practice. I'm just going to be honest here. I see this all day, and I work with kids all day trying to make sure that they, you know, basically get around to being better fundamentally than this. However, like I said, guys, this is at his worst, and it ain't that bad. I'll take this all day if this is what we have to correct. I just wanted to show you one more example. Just get the worst out of the way. So this is an example of where I feel like this was not the greatest job in run support here. Once again, we're coming out in a 3-3-5. This time it's easier to see, and this looks like a pressure package to me. Now watch. As this running back breaks through the line of scrimmage, you're going to see really bad angle taken by Arnold. Grayland Arnold has to be a little better in these type of situations because these are the things that can nickel and dime you to death, and he's got to be a lot better run support than this. But look, this is a young kid. There's plenty of time. And at the end of the day, man, I find this kid to be just an absolute playmaker. I've showed you some of the bad. Now I want to show you the good with Grayland Arnold. Once again, we're in a 3-3-5, but this time we're in a built-in cover 2. Grayland Arnold is playing the field side as that deep safety there. This is all about, number one, knowing the distance, and where you are in a football game. We're late in a football game, and Baylor had been giving up a lot of points late in the fourth quarter. 4th and like 17 here. This is all about reading the play, using your instincts. Watch how Grayland Arnold breaks on this football. This is the way football is supposed to be played. Instinctually, and never second-guessing your gut instinct. If you second-guess, it's already over whether you were right or wrong to begin with, because the delayed reaction is going to get you burnt no matter what you do in that particular situation. The last point I want to make about this young man is he's a ball hawk. You guys remember when I was doing my film breakdown, when I talked about safeties, I told you I was really, really high on Antoine Winfield Jr. because of his ball hawking skills and the athleticism of this kid. I got to be honest with you. If I said anyone else that this kid, Grayland Arnold, would remind me of, it's Antoine Winfield Jr. This kid is a very, very good ball hawk. Once again, we're in a 3-3-5. Once again, Grayland Arnold is playing the deep safety role in that field side. Now I want you to watch. He's baiting the quarterback. This is how you bait a quarterback into making a really horrible mistake. Because they knew that this kid, Erlinger, did not have the arm to reach that goal line. So they bait him into trying. And now this is all just ball skills. This is Grayland Arnold showing off his range and just how good he is with the ball hawking skills. this kid could be a turnover machine for the Eagles, and that's something to be really, really excited about. Some final thoughts about this young man is that he was a punt returner, okay? He's got special teams capability that could keep him around. Do I think he's as talented as a Rager or maybe a Hightower or even a Killins at returning punts and returning kickoffs? No, I don't think so, but that is an extra skill to add to it. I don't know if the kid has experience as a gunner, but I definitely think he might be able to play as a gunner as well. So I do think this kid has a legitimate shot at making the football team. Now, look, I'm not going to tell you guys that count it in. He's going to make the team. Like, nah, man, there's a lot of talent around him. There's a lot of guys we've invested a lot more in. And while that shouldn't matter, we all know the realities of the NFL, and we know that that matters, especially to front offices. I think the kid has a fighting chance to make the roster. I put it at about 50-50, to be honest with you. I think they're seriously considering putting this kid on the roster, to be quite honest. All right, guys, these are my thoughts on Grayland Arnold, but I'm really interested to know, what do you guys think? Leave your thoughts below. Tell me what you think about Grayland Arnold. I did as fair a job as I could to show you the weaknesses I see in this kid's game and some of the strengths. Now, I will tell you this. That running play might have looked bad, but he also made some pretty good plays down in the flats, coming up and sticking defenders, too. So I don't want that to be lost in the context of this, too, is that it's a much larger discussion. It's not just as simple as me showing you one play and saying he can't defend the run. No, he's got some things he's got to work on, but he certainly was a willing tackler. He certainly did play with a little bit of physicality, and he's a ball hawk. All right, y'all. Let me know your thoughts. I'm about to jump up out of here. You know how we end these videos. We do a little E-A-G-L-E-S. All right, y'all. Let's go, Eagles.